It comes after the last ceremony. The 10th episode of The Handmaid's Tale's second season was filled with some of the darkest moments the series has shown. The episode showed protagonist June, a handmaid kept in slavery by the state, as she was given the chance to meet with the daughter she had taken from her way back in the series pilot. The mother and daughter shared a brief moment together, and were then forced to live out their separation all over again in heartbreaking scenes as Hannah is ripped away from June. It's not the first time The Handmaid's Tale has replicated current news events, and writer Yalan Chang spoke out about the research she had to undertake in order to make the storyline as realistic as possible. In an interview with Vox, Yalan discussed the responsibility the show's writers have. We have the advantage of making up our narrative. The big thing that rules us in the writer's room is to be as truthful and honest to the story and the characters and to the context as possible. We were trying to tell a really truthful, really honest story, and it leads, unfortunately, to some really dark places where people behave horrible, where the government is terrible, where brutal things happen. Explaining the scene, Solon said, "When I first knew I was going to write this reunion scene, it was like, okay, what is this crazy situation where you have a mother whose child has been ripped away from her, and she's only going to see her for 10 minutes? What would happen in that scene? And then for this episode to air when it is happening every day in this country, it's really shocking and depressing." I talked to a UN expert in doing research for that scene, and she was telling me what happens in a scene like this, and she was telling me, parents have a few last words to say to their kids before the kid is ripped away, and the parents are taken away by the wall and shot or detained or arrested. And I was like, give me more examples so I can understand. All the experts I talked to said it never goes the way you want it to go. You want it to be all hugs and kisses and everything is great, but it's really difficult. It's really difficult to watch Hannah in the scene. You look at her and she out of it. You wonder what's happened to her? How has she been traumatized? This poor girl, how has her development been arrested? Yalan also explained how she hoped the scene will show viewers similar circumstances to those currently happening in today's society. For it to be happening now in America. I was listening to those audio recordings of kids being torn away from their parents in the detention centers, and I just couldn't believe it's so close to home. It's just really horrible. In a way, I'm glad the scene is hard to watch, and I'm glad that it will hit home in terms of showing how wrong it is to rip kids away from their parents, she began. If we could try and experience what they're experiencing, then maybe that would help make things like this policy not happen in the real world. If we could have more empathy for these mothers and kids who are separated, that's gotta be a good thing. Spoilers have suggested that fans can expect to see a stranded June in tears outside an empty house as a wolf stalks and growls at her from just a few feet away. It also appears that June will be going into pregnancy survival mode and packs a bag, with a humble first aid kit. She will attempt to drive a car, but the garage doors are frozen closed, and she will scream in frustration, the tires spinning. Following that, she will leave the car, setting out on foot, and the final frame of the episode's teaser trailer shows her shooting a rifle into the air, pain etched across her face as she kneels in front of a house. The Handmaid's Tale Season 2 airs on Hulu on Wednesdays and Channel 4 on Sundays. The season of The Handmaid's Tale has been nothing short of epic, with 3 episodes still to go. If you have been affected by any issues in this article, please visit rapecrisis.org.uk.